Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Today we're going to solve October-November 2022 in paper 1-2 of O-level maths 4024. So going to start from the very beginning of this paper. The very first question is basically we have to work out 80 divided by 0.02. It is of having 1 mark. So how to solve? There is one easy way for solving this type of question, that you have to write down 80 and then it is basically divided by 0.02. What does 0.02 means? We can write down 0.02 as 2 and multiply in the numerator with 100. Why we have multiplied with 100? Because 0.02 means that there are two digits after that decimal point, so we can write down 100 in the numerator, and then it can be simplified quite easily, like 2 1 times and 2 40 times 80. So 40 times 100 is 4000. 4000 is our final answer. If you written on 4000, you will get 1 mark. So the very next question, I've already told for paper one, you must have to remember square roots, cube roots. For cube roots, you must have to remember first 10 numbers, means 1 till 10. So in this question, cube root of 1000, what does this mean? The number of zeros must be divided by 3, means if there are 3 zeros with 1, you can divide it by 3, because cube root means you have to divide that number of zeros by that number 3. So 3 by 3 is 1. So this means that answer is 10. Or we can say cube of 10 is 1000 and cube root of 1000 is 10. So the very next question, this is basically we have to apply means mod math thing, means which thing must be you can say used first in order to have for the answer. Okay, we have to use one pair of brackets into the calculation to make it correct. Okay, we can apply, we can start from very beginning, like 4 plus 4. If we apply brackets here, what is the result? Result is 8. 8 times 4 is 32, minus 4 is 28. It is not giving 4. So what we have to do, we have to check some other, you can say, parts for this. So for other parts, what we have to do, we can apply in the central two terms. So 4 times 4 is 16. 16 and then plus 4 is 20. 20 minus 4 is 16. It's not giving 4. So if we apply at the end, means 4 minus 4 is 0. 0 times any number means DMAS means multiplication will be done first. So 0 times 4 is 0. So 0 plus 4 is 4. So if we apply brackets at the end, we will get 1 complete mark. Means we are basically proving our answer. That thing gives us 4. I hope so. This is not that much difficult kind of question. So going to the next one. In next one, we have to work out this thing, means we have to solve the brackets first. Minus 3 plus 7 is plus 4. So minus 6 times plus 4. What's the answer? Simple multiplication. 6 times 4 is 24, but there is a negative sign with any of the number resulting negative. So it is of 1 mark. So do it quite easily. Okay. In the next question, standard form is given. In some cases, standard forms are given. We have to write down ordinary number. Ordinary number means without 10 powers, or we can say without standard form things. Okay. So we have to remove that power of 10. So 10 raised to the power of negative 4. So it means that we have to shift our decimals toward left, because negative power shows us we have to shift the decimal point towards left. So how many digits were left? 4 digits. One is 7. So we have to apply. We have to, you can say, use 3 more zeros before that 7. So it is 0.000 and 754. So this is a final answer for question number 3. So moving quickly towards question 4. So in question number 4, there are, you can say, 6 squares that are given. So A, B, C, D, E, and F. So when Sam places tiles E and F side by side, he is placing E and F side by side, resulting a rectangle. This is a new shape which has no lines of symmetry and no rotational symmetry. So line of symmetry means if you apply anywhere the line, so it must be having reflected image. So it is not having that thing. And rotational means if we are moving that thing clockwise or anti-clockwise, it is not giving us that specific shape after the rotation. So what is being done means we have to look at the parts, means write down the two tiles that Sam should place side by side to make a rectangle that has one line of symmetry only. So which two types of squares, or we can say tiles, have to be placed together in order to get one line of symmetry? So which two tiles? Means if we play A with any other or any of the other tiles, so can we be having any reflected image? So I think it is not having that kind, because it is not having any kind of reflection in any sort of manner with any other tile. So what about B? So B is not having any kind of, you can say, similar type of shape, or we can say reflected type of shape. What about C? What's the reflected image actually for C? If you can see from the tile C, if this tile is showing on the left top, so for D, it is showing on the right top. And similarly, the right bottom for tile C must be having, you can say, the reflected image, means the shaded part is the left downward corner of tile D. So it means that if we, you can say, make them together, C and D, it can be having one line of symmetry. Okay, you have to just look at the shapes, which two tiles are having line of reflection of each other, means they are reflected image of each other. If they are reflected image, you can write down the answer straight away. No need to go into you can see so much depth. So we can simply write down the names of the tiles, C and other one is D. What about the next one? Rotational symmetry of order 2. Rotational symmetry of order 2, if we have to place two of the tiles together, and then we can look that whether if we want to rotate, it gives the same, you can say, shape, and once it's moved to 360, it is showing the exact, you can say, figure. So till that point, you can say we must have, you can say, two order of that symmetry. So what about A, whether it is be having any kind of symmetric thing with any of the tile, means if A is to be placed with B, so I don't think so. If you can check by yourself, you can say it is not, you can say, that much kind of difficult thing that we can just look at them and we can tell straight away that it's not that much difficult. So what about C and D? C and D we have done. What about B and C? It's not having that thing. And what about A? A with any of the other tile. You can see that if we make them together, you can say A with C. It's not having that you can say rotational image. But if we place A with E, you can rotate them. It will be having order of 2. Order of 2 means if we rotate at 180 degrees, it will be having the same figure. And as well as if we rotate at 360 degrees, you can say reaching the, uh, you can say the starting position, initial position, we will be having the same type of shape. So A and E are answered. So if you don't understand, I can explain this thing in detail later on. I can say you must have to understand the concepts of rotational symmetry and linear symmetry. So I'm quickly moving to the next type of the question. Next type of the question, the perimeter of regular hexagon. Regular means all of the sides are equal of that hexagon. Hexagon means the side which is having 6 corners. What about regular octagon? Octagon means sides having 8 corners, 8 sides. So they're saying that perimeter of regular hexagon is equal to the perimeter of regular octagon. What does perimeter mean? Perimeter is sum of all the sides. So each edge of octagon is given, that is 9 centimeters. So what about the perimeter of octagon? Perimeter of octagon must be perimeter of octagon must be 9 times 8. Okay, we have to multiply one length with the total number of sides. So 9 times 8 gives us 72 centimeters. It is the perimeter of octagon, and they're saying that you can say both perimeters, both shapes perimeters are equal. So what we have to do, we have to make them equal in order to find each edge of hexagon. So if we are going to suppose that one of the sides of hexagon is x, so perimeter of that thing will be 6x, and it must be equal to 72. We have found already the perimeter of octagon. So divide that 6 onto the other side, 72 by 6, 6 one time, and 6 12 times. So one of the edge of the side of hexagon must be 12. So you must remember what is a regular shape, and you need to understand what does perimeter means. Perimeter means sum of all the sides of any shape, and regular means all of the sides are equal. So if all of the sides are equal, perimeter becomes 6x for hexagon and 8x for octagon. But one of the length of octagon is already given, so perimeter is 72, and we have moved ahead. So quickly moving to question number 6. So we have to work out, you can say this type of question. In order to do this, we have to make the denominator same. So it is 15. LCM of 3 and 15 is 15. So how to make this 315? So multiply by 5, multiply by 5. So 11 minus 10, 5 2 times 10, whole divided by 15. So it gives answer 1 over 15. So moving to the next part, we have to write down as a fraction in its simplest form. So 3 over 10, remove the division sign and take the reciprocal of 6, that is 1 over 6. Now cut down the numbers, 3 1 times and 3 2 times 6. So 1 into 1 is 1, and 10 times 2 is 20. So this is a fraction. But written as a fraction. So this is a simplified fraction. It is of having 2 marks. So there are a lot of number questions, the topic number. There are a lot of questions from this. So I don't think so these, you can say, questions are difficult, or you can say you will get, you can say, 100% out of this topic, inshallah. So moving ahead to the next type of the question, this is basically, you can say, the same thing that is basically asked, means it is basically related to angle properties. So for angle properties, but you can say they are mentioning it's also a regular pentagon. Pentagon means 5 corners. So regular means all of the sides are equal. If all of the sides are equal, all of the interior angle are equal. Means if this is x, this must be also x, and it's also x, and it's also x. Means a regular pentagon means all of the angles are equal and all of the sides are also equal. So how to find the value of x? How to find the value of x? So for a regular shape, one interior angle formula is, you can say, formula must be n minus 2 times 180 whole divided by n. This is the simplified formula for one interior angle of any regular polygon. So for a pentagon, how many sides are there? There are 5 sides. So we have to replace n with 5. So we can find the answer quite easily. Interior angle is x. X equals to N is 5. 5 minus 2 times 180 degrees whole divided by 5. So we can cut down 5 one times and 5 36 times 180. So 5 minus 3, 5 minus 2 is 3. So 3 times 36. What's the answer? So it is giving us answer of 108 degrees. So 108 degrees is the answer for angle X. So in the next part, we have to find the value of Y. How we can find the value of Y? They have already mentioned it's a parallel line. So of any parallel line, interior angles of the same side must be supplementary. Supplementary means addition of both of the angles results 180 degrees. So if we add both of the interior angles, means if the same line is making interior angle with two of the parallel lines, the sum of these two angles must be 180. So we have found the value of X in the part A. So replacing that value here, and we have, we can say our answer quite easily means 108 plus Y equals to 180. So subtracting 108 from 180 degrees, what's the answer? Answer is 72 degrees. So this is basically the angle property that is being applied here. You must have to remember all of the properties, all of the corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, vertically opposite angles, and so on. So moving ahead. So in this type of question, they have mentioned it's an isosceles triangle. In isosceles triangle, two of the sides are equal. They've already mentioned that AB equals to BC length, and they mentioned angle ABC is having ratio with BAC like 2:5. What does this mean? This means that ABC is this angle and it's having ratio of 2. And what about BAC? BAC is this angle and it's having ratio of 5. So basically ratio is basically the simplified thing of any number. You can say we can simplify those numbers to 2:5. So we can suppose that that number is X. We don't know the actual angles. We just only know the ratio. So we have to apply any number with you can say those ratios. So those numbers must be same. For isosceles triangle means if there are two lengths and that are basically connecting the third length of that triangle, so angles on the bases must be equal. If this is 5x, it must also be 5x. So sum of, you can say all of these angles results in 180 degrees. So finding the angle of X, then what we have to do, it gives us 12x. 12x equals to 180 degrees. Divide that 12 onto the other side. So what's the result? Result is, you can say 12 one times and 12 one times and 12 five times. So answer of X is 15. But what actually we need to find? Angle ABC. Angle ABC is basically 2x. Angle ABC, we have supposed it is 2x. So 2x means we have to replace x with 15. So 2 times 15 results in 30 degrees. So 30 degrees is the answer for angle ABC. I hope so all of you understand. If you have any queries, write down in the chat. So I'm waiting for your questions. So if you have not any questions right now, I'm moving ahead and you can write down later on. So in the next question, this is basically a number topic question. In this, we have to, you can say, estimate the values. How we can estimate for understanding estimation questions, they must have to give us, we have to must write down correct to one significant figure or two like this. So in this case, they have written down, we have to, you can say, write down our answers in one significant figure. One significant means we have to stop till 4 and look at the other number next to that 4. It is greater than 5. So we have to add 1 into that 4. It gives 5 and we have to make it 0. And after the decimal, it's also 0. So it's, you can say, simplified as 50 plus 3. 3 is the very first number. Next number is greater than 5. So it will be 40 divided by, you can say after 6, that is 4. It's not having, you can say, any effect on 6. So we can write down 60 divided by 1. After 1, it is 7. It is greater than 5. We can write down it as 20. So we can simplify 60 divided by 20. What's the result? It's 3. 50 plus 40 is 90. And the denominators are simplified as 3. Means 0 will be cut with 0 to 3 times 6. So 90 divided by 3 results in 3 1 times and 3 30 times 90. So the answer is 30. I don't think so. These are difficult kind of questions. It's only having 2 marks, 1 marks. Don't lose these marks in paper 1. So if you lose these, you can say these much marks, so then it will be having a great impact on your grades. Why? Because these questions are easy. So most of the students will do them correctly. So if you have done it in the incorrect way, so you will be losing your grades, because threshold is will be becoming greater due to these questions. So moving ahead to the next type of the question. In the next type of the question means we have to write down 420 as a product of its prime factors. So we have to do prime factorization like this. 420, it's an even number divided by 2. So 2 times 4. So next number is 2. It's 2 1 times and 0 will be written as it is. So now 2 divided by 2 is 1. Next number is smaller than 2. If the number is smaller than 2, we have to replace 0 here and 2. 1 and 0 is 10 to 5 times 10. So moving ahead, it is not divisible by 2. So adding all of the digits of all of these. So 1 plus 5 is 6. So 6 is divisible by 3. So 105 must also be divisible by 3. So 3 is the, you can say, least prime number that you can say must divide 105. So 3 times 9, 1 is left. 1 and 5 makes 15, and 3 5 times 15. So 35 is not coming in the table of 3. So moving ahead, next prime number is 5. 5 7 times, and next is 7 1 times. So 420 is actually equals to 2 times 2 and times 3 times 5 times 7. So this is the answer, but there is one other way for writing down. We can write down in index notation where it is possible. So 2 is occurring 2 times. We can write down 2 squared times 3 times 5 times 7. Both answers are correct. If written down the first type of the answer, that's fine. If written down the second one, both are fine. Because they haven't mentioned you have to write down in index notation. They have just mentioned you have to write down as a product of its prime factors. So 2 squared times 3 times 5 times 7. This is the answer. So what about the next question? In the next question, given that 1512 is written as 2 cube times 3 cube times 7, where do I write down? Find the highest common factor of 420 and 1512. So if we have the index notation, it will be having, I can say, it will make our answer quite easier, and we can do in just few seconds. How we can do? So just look at here. So what's 420? 420 is basically, we have done in the previous part, 2 squared times 3 times 5 times 7. What about 1512? 1512 is written above. That is 2 cube times 3 cube times 7. So for highest common factor, look at the common numbers. 2 is common, but look at the powers. The minimum of the powers must be taken in the highest common factor. So if 2 is common, but what about the power? So is 2 raised by 2 is smaller, or 2 raised by 3? 2 raised to the power 2 is smaller. Write down 2 here. What about the next number? Is 3 raised to the power 1 is smaller in the power, or 3 cube? So clearly 3 raised to the power 1 is the smallest among these common factors. What about 7? 7 is having the same thing. It can be written as it is. So multiply all of these, that will be resulting in highest common factor. We have to look at the common numbers and then write down the minimum of the powers, not the maximum. Okay. So 2 squared is 4. 4 times, we can say 7 times 3 is 21. 21 times 4 is 84. So if you've done through any of the methods, if you've written down 84 here through any of the methods, you will get complete number. So moving ahead, it's basically relative frequency question. So for relative frequency question, these type of questions are occurring, we can say, most frequently in recent past papers. So how we can find the unknown relative frequency means we have to find the relative frequency of the spinner landing on green. So the maximum probability of any event occurring is 1. Okay, so the maximum probability is 1. So adding all of these relative frequencies and subtracting from 1 gives us the result. So you must have to show your working like this: 1 minus 0.15 plus 0.3 plus 0.2 means addition is to be done first and then it will be subtracted. So what's the answer? 0.3 and 0.2. So how we can add? You can say write down 0.3, 0.2, decimal must be written under that decimal. 1 is written here and 5 here. So if 5 is written here, so we must have to add 0 here as well. So what's the answer of this? 5 is here. 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 1 is 6. 0.65. So 1 minus 0.65, we can subtract it. So it results 0.35. So how we can subtract? You can say 1 is basically 1.00. Write down decimal under the decimal, write down 6 and then 5. So 0, you can say, is a smaller number. We have to add, you can say, we have to take carry 1 from here. So it's 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. So it becomes 9. 9 minus 6 is 3. So it has already been 0 because it has given that number onto the right hand side numbers. So this is relative frequency question. In part B, what we have to do, look at the question clearly. It's not asking about green. It's not asking about, you can say, the event, the expectation of the event of green. It's not asking like this. You can see it's asking for blue. What's the relative frequency for blue? It's 0.3 and it is occurring, it is spinning 150 times. So how we can find the expectation? Always remember, expected answer must be solved like this: 0.3, the relative frequency of the required event, times the total event which is occurring, that is 150. So how we can solve? 0.30 is basically 30 over 100 and times 150. Both zeros will be cut. This zero will cut, this zero will be cut with this. 15 times 3 is 45. If you're done through any of the methods, you will get one number. You can multiply directly or anything, you will get one number. So moving ahead, this is basically representing the inequality in the number line. This is the recent type of question. So in previous papers, it's not been like this, that you have to, you can say, show your numbers, show your results on the number line. So actually, this is to be asked in the recent paper, so you have to practice it. So most of the students make a mistake. So I'm just quickly telling you, x is smaller than 2. So you can say make the circles on the given edges, means there is 2. So you can say draw a circle above 2 and similarly draw a circle above -4. And then draw a line connecting these two circles. So x is smaller than 2 means draw an arrow towards left. If we're moving towards left, all of the numbers are decreasing. So x minus 4 is smaller than x is same as x is greater than equals to -4, the same thing. So it means that if we're moving towards right, means we have to draw an arrow like this. If we're moving towards right, the values of x are increasing. But remember one thing, if there is an equals to sign under the inequality, we have to shade that circle, means above -4, we have to shade that circle completely, filling that circle. No need to fill the circle above 2. Why? Because there is no equals to sign, you can say, mentioned below that inequality sign. So this is the answer. If you've done it correctly, you will get one number. If you've done any mistake in making this number line, you will get nothing, because you can say it must require the accurate answer. So for the next part, I can say it's to be solved like an equation, bringing that you can say variables onto the one side means minus n, and bringing that to n, it will be negative 2n, smaller than bringing the 10 on the side minus 5 minus 10. So the negative n, negative 2n, it is minus 3n is smaller than minus 15. So next thing you must have to remember, if the coefficient of the variable is negative, we have to make it positive. It becomes 3n. So the other side number must also be changing its sign. It also becomes 15. Next thing is changing the sign of the inequality. Smaller than will become greater than, and greater than becomes smaller than by changing the coefficient sign. Okay, so the coefficient sign must be changed to positive, so it will be having impact onto the constant number sign and as well as the sign of the inequality. So now you can just simply divide that 3 on the side. It will be 15 over 3, 15 by 3, resulting in n is greater than 3. So if you have found 3, but you're not sure that you can say it is smaller than or greater than, you will get just one number, because inequality sign is changed in your answer. So you must have to remember how and when we have to change the sign of the inequality. When the coefficients, you can say sign is negative, it will be having impact on the inequality sign. Just remember this thing. Okay. So moving ahead, in the next question, you can say we have to find the average speed. Distance is given and minutes are, you can say time is also given. We have to represent this thing in kilometers per hour. So what does this mean? We have to convert our distance into kilometers and minutes into hours. So 2600 meters are basically 2.6 kilometers, means 1 kilometer is equals to 1000 meters. So we have to divide, because we are shifting from meters to kilometers. We have to divide. We are converting smaller unit to bigger unit. It needs division. So what about 12 minutes conversion to hours? So it's also the smaller unit. We have to divide with something. Which something means hour. So the rate of conversion of hour to minutes is 60. So we have to divide by 60. So what is the result? So we can simplify it. So 12 1 times and 12 5 times. So 1 by 5, you can do it rougher. It is resulting in 0.2, you can say hours. Okay, divide 1 by 5 in rough work, you will get 0.2. So replacing this thing in the average speeds formula. What's the average speeds formula? It is distance over time. So what's the distance here? 2.6 divided by 0.2. Remove that decimal points. Why? Because there is one digit after a decimal point. We can remove that directly. And the same thing is in the denominator. We can remove directly. No need to apply any, you can say divide by 10 or anything else. So it becomes 26 by 2. So 26 by 2 results in 13. 1 times and 2, 13 times, you can say 26. So if you have any queries till now, do let me know. For the previous part, it's basically 15 by 3 is not 3, it's basically 5. So 3, 5 times 15. So moving ahead to question number 14. So what we have to do in question number 14, it's basically, you can say, locus and construction topic question. So what we have to, you can say, do here, look at the question. The scale drawing shows a plot of land PQRS. There is a quadrilateral and it's mentioned here PQRS. It's a complete land and the scale is given, it's 1 centimeter to 20 meters. Means in actual, if it is 20 meters, it is represented on that scale as 1 centimeter. So looking at the question, what's being asked in part A. In part A, a path crosses the land. A path is crossing the land. So where it have to cross? So look at this. And the path is equidistant from SP and SR. What does this mean? SP line and SR line. So if any path is equidistant from two lines, what does this mean? It means that it is cutting both of these lines into half, means the angle actually, okay? The angle of both of these lines into half, and there is a path here. So what we need to do, use a straight, you can say edge and a compass only to construct the path. Means yeah, you need to just only do with your compass, okay? So actually, what's being asked here, we need to find angle bisector. Bisector means doing that thing into exactly, it means equidistant from two lines actually, okay? So angle bisector. Okay, how to, we can say draw an angle bisector, put your compass on point S and draw an arc like this. And then what you need to do, you need to, you can say, put your compass here and open, you can say any, you can say of any length, it doesn't matter. You can say open that arc and you can say make an arc like this. And the same amount of compass need to be open for drawing the another arc from the other point of that angle. So drawing that line here. So if you have, you can say drawing these type of arcs, what we have to do, we have to just join this thing with this point. So that will be angle bisector. So it is angle bisector. So it is the path actually, okay? And it is equidistant from both of the lines. If you move from SR to this line, it will be the same. And similarly, PS to that line, it will be having the same distance. What's being asked in the next question? If you have any queries, you can write down in the, you can say, comment in the chat box. Next question is Priya walks from point P to the path on a bearing of 104 degrees. What we need to, this is a path and we need to draw a bearing of 104 degrees from point P, means north of P. So you can say, you need to just, you can say use protractor for drawing the angle, means putting at this north and starting from this north and moving here and here till 104 degrees. You need to stop and draw a line of P. You can say draw a straight line from here and it must be intersecting with that path. Okay, I hope so you understand this is of 104 degrees bearing. So if you've done it correctly, you will get, you can say complete marks of it for drawing the bearing. For the first part, you can see you will get 2 marks for angle bisector if you have done the correct way of doing it. So so it is of one mark. So you have to just represent that, you can say line. Next is find the actual distance of P to where Priya meets the path. Means what will be the actual distance? We need to find, you can say from point P to meeting that path, means we need to find that length. So for finding that length, what we need to do, you need to, you can say, have your scale and check what is the length from point P till that path. It must be something, you can say 79.4, we can say 8 centimeters, or almost 8 centimeters length, almost. So almost 8 centimeters length. So 80 millimeters is basically 8 centimeters. If we say if it is 8 centimeters, so what we need to do, basically we need to convert into meters. Actually, we need to have the actual distance, not the, I can say, the scale, the maps distance. Okay, we need to find the actual distance from P to that point. So it must be, I can say, measured as, I can say, 8 times 20, because 1 centimeter is representing 20 meters. So for 8 centimeters multiplied with that 20, you will get 160. So what's the limit of the, you can say, basically, what's the limit of the question? For the limit of the question, remember this thing, your answer must lie in between range of 152 till 160. That will be fine. You will get one, you can say, 2 complete marks if you're done the correct way, means correct method for it. So it also depends on angle bisector as well. If you have made the angle bisector correctly and bearing correctly, then you will be having the actual distance in the correct way as well. So moving ahead to part C, what's being asked in part C, I hope so this is clear to all of you. A car is basically parked, a car park is to be built on the plot of land. On the scale drawing, you have to tell the area of the car park is 2 centimeters squared. Find the actual area. You find the actual area. The units of area is in centimeters squared. So you need to convert, you can say, the units into the same kind of units. Means that you need to understand that if 1 meter is 100 centimeter, what will be 1 meter squared? 1 meter squared will be, you have to open, you can say, you have to do the square on both sides. So 100 square will be 10,000. Number of zeros will be doubled. So one with 4 zeros and then centimeters squared. So 1 meter square is basically equal to this. So we need to apply here as well. So what about 2 centimeters square in terms of meter square? You have to divide that thing with 10,000. You will be having, you can say, or you can say in fraction form, 2 over 10,000. It will be in meters squared. So a car park is to build on the plot of land. On the scale drawing, on the area of the car park will be this. Find the actual area of the car park. So actual ratio, we can apply ratio method, actual ratio map. So what is to be done here? What is to be done here? The scale is actually given, it is 1. So if it is 1, what about the centimeter square of it? Means if it is 1 centimeter and it is 20, so taking square on both sides, it results in square form as 1 centimeter square is equals to, you can say, 2 square is 4, and make the square, make that zeros as double. So 400 meter squared. Okay. So what do you need to do on map? Don't need to apply in meter square. You can apply centimeter square as well. Means on map, you can say it is, if it is 2 centimeters square, what about the actual? We need to find its x. What about, you can say, the scale factor which is given? For the scale factor on map, if it is 1, for the actual, it will be 400. So we can write down 400 in actual, 400 meters squared. And what about map? For map, we can write down, you can say 1 squared is 1. So now cross multiply. 1 into x is x. 400 times 2 will be the result that gives us 800 meter squared if we are having dealing with 2 centimeter square. Okay, because if the area is doubled, we can say the area on actual is also double than the area on the map. So moving ahead, this is basically the question which is involving coordinate geometry. The equation of the line AB is given 3y plus 4x equals to 18. 3 points are given. A is 0 and 6, B is P and 0, and C is P and 6. P is unknown. Okay. What we need to do, we have to find the value of P. How we can find the value of P? For finding the value of p, there is a quite easy of the methods, means that they have already told the line AB. Why they have told, you can say, the equation of the line AB. So because we can find the gradient through it, and that gradient must be having the gradient of line AB. Through it, we can find the value of P. So rearrange it, means bringing that 4x onto the other side, it is minus 4x plus 18, and divide 3 onto the other side, so it is 3 and plus 18 over 3 is basically 6. But actually we have the requirement of that gradient thing. So gradient is basically minus 4 by 3x, because if we compare this thing with mx plus c, so m is minus 4 by 3, so m is minus 4 by 3. So using this gradient, we can find the value of p. So if a is to be taken as the first point, it is x1 y1, and b will be taken as the second point, it's x2 y2. We are using the gradient of this thing. Why? Because the equation of line is of ab, so we need to find the gradient of this thing as well. So m equals to y2 minus y1, putting the formula of the gradient, divided by x2 minus x1. What is m? M is minus 4 by 3. We have done previously, minus 4 by 3 equals to what's y2? Y2 is 0 minus y1. Y1 is 6 divided by p, x2 is p minus 0. Cross multiplying p minus 0 is p. So p times 4 is minus 4p equals to minus 6 times 3 is minus 18. So minus and minus will be cut. 4 will be divided here. So 18 by 4, I can say cut down, 2 9s are 2 2s are 9 by 2 is basically 4.5. So value of p is 4.5. If you're done through any of the methods, you will get one complete number. So write down the three inequalities that define the region inside triangle ABC. Inside the triangle ABC, we have to write down the inequalities. So how we can write down the inequalities? So first of all, look at the region. Region is this thing. So actually it's not shaded, and some of the lines are dotted lines and one is solid line. So looking at the lines, those are parallel to x-axis or parallel to y-axis. The very first line, it is parallel to y-axis. So what is the value of y? It is 6 here. So the region is lying below it. So we can write down, equation is y equals to 6, but inequality is y is smaller than 6, not equals to, because it's a dotted line, the region is below it. It's not including, because this line is not included. So next, the line is, I can say, parallel to y-axis. It's having equation in terms of x. So the region is leftwards towards it. The values of x are decreasing if we move leftwards. So what about the value of x here? It's 4.5. The equation is x equals to 4.5, and the region is x is smaller than 4.5. What about the third one? For the third one, you can say, we have the equation of the line. Okay, for the equation of the line, and look at the region, means if we rearrange it, the values remains the same. Means looking at this thing, whether the region is lying above it or below it. If it is lying above this line, if we take any of the point of this line, it's above it. So it means that the region must be greater than or equals to, because it's a solid line. So the equation will be, the inequality will be 3y plus 4x is greater than equals to 18. So write down all of these inequalities. X is smaller than 4.5. Y is smaller than 6. And similarly, 3y plus 4x is greater than equals to 18. So these are the answers of all of these three inequalities that defines the region. Going to the next part. If you have any queries, write down in the chat. I'm waiting for your answer, for your questions. Next question is also related to the coordinate geometry, but in this case, we have to find the midpoint coordinates. Midpoint coordinates are always be having a 1 mark. So just finding the average of the x coordinates, minus 2 plus 6. Do your mental maths. Minus 2 plus 6 gives positive 4. Positive 4 divided by 2 is 2. Similarly, 1 plus 13 is 14. 14 by 2 is 7. If you have done this thing, you will get one number. So we have to find the gradient of the line PQ. For finding the gradient, we know the coordinates. So applying the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I can say supposing point P as the first point and point Q as the second point. Y2 is 13. 13 minus 1 divided by 6 minus and minus becomes positive. So positive 2. So 13 minus 1 is 12. 12 divided by 8. So it results in 3 over 2. So gradient is 1.5 or 1 whole 1 by 2. We can say it's 1 whole 1 by 2. And we have to find the gradient of the line that is perpendicular to the line PQ. Okay. So if you have found the gradient of PQ, what will be the gradient of the line that is perpendicular? Taking the reciprocal, means 3 by 2's reciprocal, and with negative sign, that will be the gradient of the line that is perpendicular. So it will be having 1 mark. So you can say minus 2 by 3 will be the answer. No need to convert into decimal form. You can do it as a fraction as well. So it will be fine. I hope so all of you understand this. So I'm quickly moving ahead to the next questions. So for the next question, it's basically index question. So multiplying the power with the power 2 times 3 is 6. Quickly writing down x raised over 6. So you have to find the value of t. So for finding the value of t, if the power is negative, we have to make it positive. So how we can make it positive? 1 over t squared equals to 9. So if the variable is in the base and we are having a power, so what we need to do, actually we can write down it as 1 over t whole square as well. Why? Because 1 squared is also 1. So we can write down it as a complete power. So if the variable is in the base, we have to make the power same. So what is 9 is to be written as the power of 3, power of any number 2. It is basically 3 raised to power 2. So powers are same. We can make the bases equal. So 1 by t equals to 3. Now cross multiply. So t will be equals to 1 over 3. It is of having 1 mark. So if you've done through any of the method by simply putting the values here, and then you can check your answers, it will also be fine. So moving ahead to the next part, any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. So square root 5 times 1 equals to 5 raised to power k. So square root 5, any number multiplied by 1 gives the same result. So 5 raised to power k. What is square root? Square root is basically 1 by 2. So if bases are same, variable is in the power, so we can make the powers equal. So k must be equals to 1 over 2. So I hope so you understand. So moving quickly to the next part. So for the next part, it's basically variations question. So x is directly proportional to the square of y plus 1. So what we need to do, open this, I can say, changing this sign and put a k, y plus 1 whole squared. So now you can say replacing the value of y with 2 and x with 45. And you can say k and 2 plus 1 whole square. What's 2 plus 1 whole square? 3. 3 squared is 9. 45 by 9 results in 5. So you can say if you replace that 5 here, x equals to 5 times y plus 1 whole square. This is equation connecting x and y. Now replacing y with 4 and finding the value of x. So x equals to 5 times 4 plus 1 whole square. So 4 plus 1 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So 5 times 25 results in 125. So the answer of this thing is 125. So solving the next question, this is basically you can say a fractional, you can say algebra that is to be applied here. So making the denominator same. So 6, 4, and 3. What's the LCM of all of these three numbers? It's 24. So multiplying each and every number by 24, it will be simplified quite easily. So it is basically plus 24 times multiplying with the LCM with each and every fraction in order to get rid out of the denominators. So 5 over 3 for 1 times, for 6 times, similarly 3 1 times, 3 8 times, 6 1 times, and 6 4 times. So 4 times 3, open the brackets, 4 times 3 is 12, 12x, minus 4 times 1 is 4, plus 6 times x is 6x, plus 6 times 2 is 12, equals to 8 times 5 is 40. Now bringing constant numbers onto one side, 12 plus 6 is 18x, equals to 40 minus 12 and plus 4. So 40 minus 12 is 28. 28 plus 4 is 32. So 18x equals to 32. Now dividing 18 onto the other side, 32 over 18, cut down the numbers, it is basically 2 16 times and 2 9 times. So 16 by 9 will be our answer for this, or we can write down as 1 whole 7 over 9. Both are same. So moving ahead to the next part. So I hope so all of you understand this. So in the next question, what we need to do, we have to find the frequencies, densities for the question that is given here. So how to find frequency density? Divide frequency with the corresponding interval, means 15 divided by 5. Interval is 5. 15 by 5 is 3. Similarly, 30 by 15 is 2. So we have completed the table for it. Find the value of x when the interval is x till, you can say t is basically ranges from x till 30. Okay, we need to find the value of x. What is x here? X is the very first value. So we need to actually find the interval. Okay, we need to find the value of the interval. So for finding the value of interval, what we need to do, basically we need to find, I can say we divide frequencies with the frequency density. So 32 divided by 16 and remove the decimal and multiply with 10 here. 16 one time, 16 two times, 2 into 10 is 20. So the interval is 20. So it must start from 10, because 30 minus 20 results in 10. If you're done through any, you can say mental maths, that will be fine. Okay. So moving ahead, and you can say representing those 100 children on histogram. So basically we need to look at the frequency densities from 10 till 30. We have to represent 1.6. 10 till 30, and where is 1.6 that is lying? It is basically 4 units below it. 1 2 3 and 4, so it must lie here. And 30 is here, joining these 2 points. So it is of basically 10 till 30. So what about the next? Next is basically 2.3, and it is 30 till 40. It's 2.3. So what is 2.3? 2.3 is basically 3 units above it. And it is here 30 till 40. So joining here. So this is for 30 till 40. What about the next one? Next one is, you can say 40 till 45 is 3. 40 till 45 is exactly 3. 45. Where is 45 lying? So it is basically 5 units from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it is exactly lying here. So the next one is, you can say 45 till 60 is exactly 2. The frequency density is 2. So what we need to do, 45 till 60 till end. So we're doing this shade all of these regions, so that will be your histogram that is completed here. So I hope so you understand. If you have any queries related to it, do let me know right now. So moving ahead to the next question. In next question, it's basically frequency question. We have to find inverse of it. So how to find inverse? Replacing that f of x with y equals to 1 plus 3x whole divided by 2. Now making x as a subject, bringing that 1 onto the other side, y minus 1 equals to 3x by 2. So cross multiply 2 times y minus 1 whole divided by 3 equals to x. I made x as the subject, so we can write down f inverse of y equals to 2 times y minus 1 overall divided by 3. Now replacing y with x, so that will be your answer. 2 times x minus 1 whole divided by 3. This is the answer for inverse of a function f of x. So in the very next question, we have to solve g of x equals to f of minus 4. So g of x is basically 2 over 1 minus x. What is f of minus 4? Replacing x with minus 4 here. 1 plus 3 times minus 4 divided by 2. So 2 and 4 will be cut. So what's the answer of it? 3 times minus 2 is minus 6. Plus 1 is minus 5. And 2 over 1 minus x. Actually, we have to find solve. We have to find x because it's written here solve. Solve means finding the value of the unknown. Now cross multiply. 2 equals to minus 5 times 1 minus x. So open the bracket. So it's minus 5 and plus 5x. So bringing that 2 on the other side, 2 plus 5 equals to 5x. So 2 plus 5 is 7. So 7 over 5 equals to x, or we can write down 7 over 5, or we can say 1 whole. 2 by 5, both are the correct answers. So moving ahead to the algebra thing, if two terms are squared, in between there is a negative sign. So we can apply the identity a squared minus b squared. 9 is square of 3, p squared is square of p, whole squared minus q squared is square of q. So we can write down as 3p plus q times 3p minus q, because a squared minus b squared result in a plus b times a minus b. So moving ahead to the next, this is grouping, you can say factorization. So what we need to take something common from first two terms. C is common, a is to be written inside the bracket minus 3b, and then if nothing is common, 1 must be taken as common. So you have to write down 1 and inside the bracket a, and no need to change the sign because there is a positive sign in the third term. So a minus 3b. Look at the terms. These two are common. A minus 3b is to be written 1 times and multiply with a plus 1. So this is to be done in 2 steps. So you will get 2 marks if you've done both of the steps correctly. A minus 3b times a plus 1. So I hope so. If you understand this thing, that will be fine. If you have any queries, do let me know right now. I'm moving ahead to the next question. In the next question, it is a matrix question. So it's basically statement type of questions that are usually, you can say, occurring in CIs. That Adam and Ben buy tickets for the cinema and the theater. Adam buys 5 cinema tickets and 4 theater tickets, and Ben buys 7 cinema tickets and 9 theater tickets. So how to represent? Cinema must be written in one column and theater must be written in another column, and first row must be of Adam, second row must be of Ben. So what is cinema? Under cinema and Adam's, you can say it must be having 5. Similarly, Adam is buying 4 theater tickets. Similarly, 7 cinema tickets for Ben and 9 theater tickets for Ben as well. So this is the representation. It's quite easy. They've already told us how to write down. So in the next part, what we need to do, you can say cinema tickets cost $11. It's been written here, and theater tickets cost $30. So why is the matrix that is representing the total cost, you can say, of separate, you can say, events? That means cinema and as well as the theater. So P equals to XY. We have to find the matrix P, where X is the very first matrix and Y is the cost. So what we need to do, we have to simply multiply those two matrices. So P equals to 5, 4, 7, and 9, and multiply with 11 and 30. Now, starting from the first row and first column, 11 times 5 results in 55, and then plus same row is to be continued, so we have to add 4 times 30 results in 120. So shifting towards the second row, because there is no second column in the second matrix. So 7 times 11, you have to multiply first number with the first 77, then plus 9 times 30 results in 270. Adding all of these, so 120 plus 55 results in 175, and if you add 270 with 77, it results 347. So this is the required matrix P. So we can write down here 175 and 347. So moving ahead to the next question, I hope so you understand this. If you have any queries, you can let me know right now or end of the class as well. Explain what the elements in matrix P represent. What does this mean? Actually, the cost matrix is basically, you can say Y. This is for cinema and as well as for theater. So if we multiply this with, I can say, the number of tickets, multiply number of tickets with the cost. What does this mean? This means that if 5 is basically cinema tickets, it must be multiplied with the amount of cinema. Similarly, theater is 4. So 4 is basically, you can see, represent 30 is basically the cost of the theater tickets. So theater number of tickets must be multiplied with theater's cost. So it means that the very first element representing the total cost of cinema tickets. Okay, we can write down representing P is representing total cost of cinema tickets and theater tickets. So I hope so you understand. I'm moving ahead. So this is simple multiplication of, you can say, the matrices. In the next question, if sine x is given, it is sine 50 and the interval is given 90 till 180. We have to find the value of x, means 90 till 180 is basically the range, means 90 till 180 is basically the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, why they have told it's second quadrant? Because the values of sine are positive. So if sine 50 is given and we have to find sine x. So always remember, if there is any angle sine x, it must be equals to sine of 180 minus x. So if x, we can say if a number is 50, if an angle is 50, if we take the supplement of it, that must be x. So x must be 180 minus 50 degrees. So the result is giving you 130 degrees. So I hope so you understand this. Moving ahead to the next type, this is algebra question. We have to do factorization in the numerator and as well as in the denominator in order to simplify. What's common in x squared and 4x? We have to take x as common, inside bracket x minus 4. Doing the midterm break in the denominator. So 12's factor, if you subtract, it gives, you can say 1. It is 4 and 3 minus 4x and plus 3x minus 12. So x times x minus 4 whole divided by, we can write down in the simplest way, x minus 4 times x plus 3. So x minus 4 and x minus 4 will be current. So the answer is x over x plus 3. This is a simplified answer for the fraction. So x over x plus 3. So moving ahead. So this is a vector question. So how to solve this? This is basically the very last type of the question. So we have to represent OC in terms of AB. So read the question completely. OA is given as small a and OB is given as small b, and AB ratio BC is 3:2. Means if this is in terms of ratio, we can say it is 3, and in terms of ratio, it is 2. So what we need to do, OC, we have to represent OC in terms of A and B. So how we can solve this thing? Actually, if we can calculate the complete vector AC, or at least AB or BC, we can find, then we can easily calculate OC vector. So what is AB vector? AB vector. So AB vector must be having, it must be having tail towards A and head towards B. So in terms of B and A, head and head are joining, it must be positive, and tail and head are joining, A must be negative. So AB is, in terms of B and A, it is B minus A. So if it is B minus A, so how we can find, you can say, the complete vector AC? If we have AC vector, we can find, you can say, through the triangle OAC, we can find a vector OC. So how we can find AC vector? I'm writing down AB and ratio AC. So remember the ratios. If AB's ratio is 3, what about AC's ratio? AC's ratio is sum of these two, 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. What about the vector of AB? AB's vector is B minus A, and AC's vector is to be find out. We don't know. It's X. Cross multiply. So it is 3X equals to 5 times B minus A, or we can say 3 is to be divided. So 5 over 3 times B minus A. This is actually the AC vector. AC vector is 5 by 3 of B minus A. So if it is 5 by 3 of B minus A, how we can find the vector OC? I'm just making a diagram, separate diagram, then you can understand it quite easily. Means actually we need to find OC in this case. We know OA. O is heading towards A, and we know AC. AC, we have found it out, it's 5 by 3 of B minus A. So for having OC vector, look at the head. Both heads are joining, so 5 over 3 times B minus A is positive, and tail are joining, so A is also positive. So open the bracket and simplify, like an, you can say, algebra, and like you can say, do this thing as simplified as possible in the like terms. So open the brackets, 5 by 3b and minus 5 by 3a, and then plus a. So there are two a's, so we can simplify them. And a minus 3, you can say 5 by 3a. So what we can do, 5 by 3b, then we can write on plus here, whole divided by 3. It will be 3a minus 5. I've just changed the, you can say, directions of these two. So 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5 resulting in negative 2a. So it will be 5 over 3b minus 2a over 3. Or we can just, you can say, take 3 as a common, 1 by 3, 5b minus 2a. This is a simplified answer. I hope so all of you understand. The vectors is basically a little bit hard question in P1 if it is coming like this. So you need to practice it more and more. So I'm moving ahead to the next question. If D is a point on OC such that OD is B minus 2 by 5 of A, so show that OABD is a trapezium. D is a point on OC. D is any point on OC, and they are saying that it is B minus 2 by 5 of A. B minus 2 by 5A, if we simplify, it is basically looking like this, 5B minus 2A over 5. It's actually 1 by 5th of 5B minus 2A. Both of these are multiples because these two are parallel vectors. These two are parallel vectors. So it is 1 by 3. It is 1 by 5th of it. So we need to show OA, BD, OA and BD. OA, B and D is a trapezium. For having a trapezium, we need to have two of the lengths parallel. So we can see from the diagram, it looks like OA can be parallel to DB. OA can be parallel to DB. Okay. If it is so, we need to find BD vector first. Then we can tell that it is a trapezium or not. So how we can find, you can say BD. For finding the value of BD, I'm just using OBD vector. I already know OD vector. It's given here. It is basically B minus 2 by 5A, B minus 2 by 5 of A, and I know B vector as well. So head and head of B are joining, it's positive. So I can say head of D and resultant tail is joining, so it will be negative. So B minus 2 by 5 of A. So by opening the brackets, basically I'm just simplifying for DB vector. So it is basically DB vector must be equals to B minus B, and then it will be positive 2 by 5A. B and B will be cut, and you can see clearly DB is basically written as a multiple of A. If it is written as a multiple of A, means it is 2 by 5 of A, it means that it is parallel to vector A, means OA is basically parallel to DB because 2 by 5 is any number that is being multiplied with the vector. So it is to be shown that these two lines are parallel, and you can say line, or we can say vectors. You can say vectors OA and DB are parallel to each other. So OABD is a trapezium. So OABD is a trapezium. So this is all from today's, you can say, past paper. If you have any queries, you can write down in the chat box, or you can ask me later on, or write down in the, you can say, feedback, you can say in the comment section under the video. So take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.